I'm letting you guys know. In Taurus, Uranus was slowed down. In Gemini, it's about to be fully unleashed. So that's going to change the overall orientation of much of the collective. Rather than seeking to have in this earth-based way, we're gonna seek to know and explore and develop our ideas. In this future that we're stepping into, it will require greater social awareness as well as greater social etiquette. In the last age we were in, which was very earth-based and influence, you could be a terrible person, an asshole, abuse your power, and still garner social support. You could buy that. We're coming out of a time period where it's like relationships were like, what can this person do for me? I know they're kind of a terrible person, or I don't agree with certain values they have, but being around them because of their status can help improve mine. We are heading away from that.
Shooting at the mind, steady studying my enemies. Anytime I rhyme, feel like I smoked a blunt of cannabis. Like PG, pass me the clippers, I'ma handle it. More like CP3, just warrior like glamorous.
What's going on, world? It's your boy Gemini Brown here, back with another episode of Nalo Kicking Knowledge. I hope everyone out there is doing well. Today, I wanted to talk about Neptune and Aries, Uranus and Gemini, these upcoming major transits and the effect that they're going to have on relationships as we know it. So let's get into it. So many of you know Neptune has recently transitioned into Aries, where it'll be for the next several months before transiting back into Pisces, and then eventually going forward for good. And of course, we have Uranus and Gemini coming up. And of course, we have Pluto already here in Aquarius. This is wonderful energy. If you read between the lines, that's all fire and air energy. They are masculine signs. So part of how this energy is already playing out is what you see in the acceleration of technology within the society. I'm letting you guys know. In Taurus, Uranus was slowed down. In Gemini, it's about to be fully unleashed. So that's going to change the overall orientation of much of the collective. Rather than seeking to have in this earth-based way, we're gonna seek to know and explore and develop our ideas. So with that said, how does this affect relationships? Well, let's go back to Pluto and Aquarius. Pluto and Aquarius is about community and humanitarianism. And the idea is that your true individuality, Leo, shines through being a functional member of the group. So having a group of people that support your uniqueness, and in the even better sense, like your humanitarian efforts. Hopefully you guys all link together to do positive stuff and not necessarily self-destructive things like we're witnessing with this government. So everyone has talent, but where do you display that talent? Within the confines of a group that needs that energy, okay? So the first thing I want to say about relationships in general going forward is everyone needs to be real with themselves about what they actually bring to the table. Remember, we're not talking about romance specifically. We're talking about friendships, work, relationships, all of that. What are you contributing? The future of the society, especially working, is going to be skill-based. It's going to be like, okay, who can I get to do this, or who does this best? So you'll find that, like, damn, you may not do everything the best, particularly if you're older, right? Acclimating with everything that's coming about technology-wise, you're gonna need others who are already a little bit ahead of the curve. With that said, right, say you don't know how to do something. The objective now needs to be, I need to learn how to do this. Rather, the old mentality, the earth mentality was, let me buy my way into this or someone to do it for me. So the key to relationships is going to be about like having actual value, which is going to be your natural light or your talent. It's about knowing how to utilize that, find the correct group for it. And those who fail to know themselves are going to kind of be lost or be susceptible to whatever leaders or those who are activated their Leo energy or uniqueness, they'll be susceptible to being a follower of them. So ideally, we're moving into a space where relationships can be very supportive and even business oriented. There is going to be a business orientation to that. And that's part of what we learned already while Pluto's in Capricorn. So it's kind of like, yo, don't expect people to do things for you for free. Like, be mindful of people's energy, time, and just how they're carrying themselves. So that brings me to the greater point that I'm trying to make here, is that in this future that we're stepping into, it will require greater social awareness as well as greater social etiquette. In the last age we were in, which was very earth-based in influence, you could be a terrible person, an asshole, abuse your power, and still garner social support, love, or whatever, right? You could buy that. We're coming out of a time period where it's like relationships were like, what can this person do for me? I know they're kind of a terrible person, or I don't agree with certain values they have, but being around them because of their status can help improve mine. We are heading away from that. People are going to want to be around people who not excite them, but makes them feel like they're alive, that they're learning. And then, like I said, it will be rooted in some type of like balance. This old way of abusing power and uneven is going to level out a little bit. And it levels out more for you the more willing you are to learn new things. Okay? And you'll find more social harmony the more open-minded you are to things. So the next dynamic, which I'm not going to go deep here on, I'm going to leave it for y'all to really think about. Part of what I'm saying here, and then this is where we can apply towards romantic relationships or whatever. It's been 15 years since 2010. Cell phones are well integrated into the modern era. Cell phones are communication devices. Part of the Neptunian disillusionment is that we have these devices that make communication easier, but it actually pushed us further apart. What I foresee is that in this next cycle, those dynamics will also need to improve. Naturally, everyone won't be effective communicators with these devices, but I think that we're going into a time period where there will be an expectation of certain ways of communicating. So I'm gonna give a great example. Like I don't have nobody in my life like this, right? But there are people who don't want to be FaceTimed, video called at all, right? So if you're a person who doesn't necessarily like that, this is only going to become more and more normalized to this fact that it was like, bro, why am I having to call you on the phone to speak to you? Just pick up the damn video chat. Things like that. That's the best way I can try to communicate that, is that their social dynamics are changing. And the way in which we communicate is changing. And there's a lot of bad habits that have been established that are going to get rerouted and improved. So the last thing I'm going to say here in regards to relationships is kind of like this. It piggybacks what I was saying before. If you find yourself trying to form relationships for the wrong reasons, i.e., using someone for their status, trying to be a part of things that are really not in alignment with you, there will be lessons learned in that way. So I give an example. Let's say there's someone out there really focused on making money, but their mentality is more pure than other business people. In their mind, they think, okay, I need to be around the elite businessmen or business people to reach my goal. They get around those people and then they realize, like, damn, we have completely different values or ways about going about our goals. So there's something to learn there. So I hope that makes sense too. So in closing, this time period is about knowing yourself even more. The more you can cultivate new skills, passions, things you love, the more light you're cultivating to be able to shine out there, which is going to affect the quality of the partnerships that you attract. All right. This is a really interesting time. And I just encourage everyone to reflect on things they've experienced and add hope and optimism to future things they want to experience. All right. So this is my episode for today. I hope you guys enjoy. Feel free to check out my website, GeminiBrown.com. All my products and services are there. If you need a reading, holla at me. Till next time, peace.